Hey everybody, and welcome back to another episode of Brews with Brian, a craft beer review podcast. Craft beer is made at smaller breweries, not these big corporate machine breweries that we're all aware of. Craft beer takes time and patience. The people that brew this stuff actually care about the product they're delivering to us. On this week's show, I'm reviewing Bourbon Barrel Vanilla Smoked Porter from brewery Ommegang, Can-O-Bliss Hazy IPA from Oscar Blues Brewery, and Drafty Kilt Scotch Ale from Monday Night Brewing. You can find the show on Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, YouTube, and Spotify. So don't forget to like and share, and make sure your craft beer buddies know about the show, and maybe they'll enjoy it too. But let's kick this show off. And first up on this week's show, we have Bourbon Barrel Vanilla Smoked Porter from brewery Ommegang out of Cooperstown, New York. Bourbon Barrel Vanilla Smoked Porter has an ABV of 8.9% and a seasonal availability. The description from the website says, during the summer of 2017, our brewers were developing and subsequently falling in love with Ommegang Smoked Porter. Sampling the first pilot batches, it was clear that it was a beer that was meant for barrel aging. Thus, when we brewed smoked porter to release in the winter of 2017, we also set aside some in bourbon barrels. Each individual barrel then received additions of several whole Madagascar vanilla beans to impart their rich and creamy flavors. Now, 6 months later, it is ready to drink. The pour here is deep brown that borders near black, though when it's held up to the light, it does have some brunette ruby edges towards the bottom of my glass. The head is superb off-white khaki color, building up with a few fingers of foam that retains with a nitro-like fervency. This thing looks amazing. Intense lace and superb legs, definitely looking nitro-esque in my opinion. The nose is milk chocolate, espresso beans, and silky smooth vanilla with a little bit of bourbon-soaked oak in there. Kind of spicy and tannic, but also sweet with the vanilla-laden wood note. It's a very nice barrel treatment from what I can discern from the smell. Definitely getting chocolate syrup and a light lactose creamy aspect, but with help from the malt as well. My first sip is generously dosed with spicy oak tannins and chocolate malt before melting into the mid-palate, which displays excellent balance between the oak and delicate vanilla flavors. The finish is detailed with more creaminess and coffee chocolate flavors that lean a little bit on the sweet side. The smokiness is a little bit less apparent than I prefer it to be, but I understand that marrying sweet and smoky in a beer isn't exactly easy. I do wish for a bit more smoke, though, especially as it gets pretty overly sweet towards the finish. Slightly thinner body than I expected as well, which is a little disappointing. But I have to say that overall, this feels quite good and well made. I recommend drinking this, especially if you like sweet barrel-aged beers, especially porters or stouts. And this beer was great. I'm going to check this brewery out some more and see what else they do, because this one was outstanding. So overall, I'm going to give Bourbon Barrel Vanilla Smoked Porter from brewery Ommegang 5 stars. And the next beer on this week's show is Can-O-Bliss Hazy IPA from Oscar Blues Brewery out of Lyons, Colorado. Can-O-Bliss Hazy IPA has an ABV of 7.2% and a seasonal availability. The description from the website says, Hazy unfiltered IPA brewed with Strata, Cashmere, Enigma, and Eureka hops, flavors of stone fruit, melon, and peach. The beer pours hazy gold with silver tones. An active white foam forms adequate, settles down pretty quickly, and nothing really left over as far as lacing. The aroma starts flowing the second you pop the can. Heady tropical fruits lead by citrus and pineapple. A little bit of raw hop is in there as well. Very green and fresh, wet smelling. Wheat and golden malty aromatics blend with these hops perfectly for the New England hazy style IPA. The hop complexity and the flavor is pretty awesome. The hops taste very fresh. If you can imagine crushing a fresh hop cone, that's what I'm getting out of this beer. Earthy, herbal, and tropical tasting, all together grooving along, rolling around the palate. The malt is golden, sunny, and crisp. A nice light bite that has a Pilsner and wheat malt thing happening. The mouthfeel is very bright and crisp and grainy from the hops and the malt. The malt gets a bit heady later on, medium bodied with a refreshing effect and grainy dry finish. The flavors finish off with some seriously earthy flavors as the hops now taste and feel more like a dry hop style. Like I said, complexity is high because it keeps changing and morphing as the season rolls on. Can-O-Bliss Hazy IPA is a fantastic beer. Oscar Blues makes some fantastic stuff. You definitely have to try them out. But overall, I'm going to give Can-O-Bliss Hazy IPA from Oscar Blues Brewery 4 stars. And our last beer on this week's show is Drafty Kilt Scotch Ale from Monday Night Brewing out of Atlanta, Georgia. Drafty Kilt Scotch Ale has an ABV of 7.2% and a year-round availability. The description from the website says, a roasty Scotch ale with a hint of smoke. In a difficult hop-growing climate, Scottish brewers relied on other ingredients to impart flavor and bitterness. One such ingredient was smoked malt. Draft Kilt is a dark malt bombshell of a beer. Pouring this beer, it starts dark brown. Mahogany hints show through when held to the light. Nice fluffy two-finger head from an aggressive pour. Falls oh so slow with tons of lace. The aroma is malty, caramel toasted, light nuttiness and hints of smoked peat. The taste is like the nose, big malty goodness, lots of caramel malts loaded with earthy peat notes and light liquid smoke hints. Good nutty notes in the finish with some light spice to round it out and keep it from being too sweet. The mouthfeel is a big medium with a good level of carbonation. Overall, this is a very solid Scotch ale. Not sure if I'm just in the mood for this one, but this one is striking me as better than average from most attempts from most breweries. I would definitely have this one again whenever I get in the mood for a Scotch ale. But Monday Night Brewing makes a ton of great beer. Everything I've had has just been off the charts good, so definitely check out Monday Night. Anything you pick up will be good. I promise you that. But overall, I'm going to give Drafty Kilt Scotch Ale from Monday Night Brewing 4 stars. And that's going to do it for this week's episode of Brews with Brian. I want to thank everybody for listening. The show continues to grow each and every week. We're either adding a different state or more countries around the world. So again, thank you for that. You can find the show on Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, YouTube, and Spotify. So don't forget to like and share the show. If you have friends that enjoy craft beer, maybe they'll enjoy me talking about it. But on today's show, I reviewed Bourbon Barrel Vanilla Smoked Porter from Brewery Omegang, Can-O-Bliss Hazy IPA from Oscar Blues Brewery, and Drafty Kilt Scotch Ale from Monday Night Brewing. I want to give a special shout out to Southern Package, my hometown craft beer shop. If you live in Northwest Alabama, you got to stop by and check them out. They're good people and they'll treat you right. But that's going to do it for this week's episode of Brews with Brian, and we'll see you next time.